Hi, this is Brad. Like you, I've got an iPod that's kind of scratched up. Let's take a look at it. Hard to tell in this light. Oh, there I am. Not so beautiful. There's my eyes. Hi. But yeah, so it's hard to tell in this light. You can kind of see there's some scratches on there. It's not as bad as some I've seen. Maybe there you can see a little bit better when I hold in that light. But you know, it is getting a little chewed up. And so we're going to go ahead and refurbish this using a Dremel tool. Now, there is a similar video here on YouTube. I'm going to try to turn this thing off. I'm just going to go into a little bit more detail and tell you what I'm doing, what I'm using. Well, screw it. I can't turn it off. Anyway, so what I'm going to use on this thing is a polishing compound. And by the way, I don't think you have to use turtle wax. I'm going to use turtle wax, and hopefully it'll come out okay. Polishing compound is really nice if you ever hit something, you get a little bit of paint transfer on your car. It'll usually take that right off, or if somebody opens their door into your car. I mean, if they will take the paint off, it's not going to help that, you know. But what it will do is if there's a color transfer, it'll work really well. But it's different than rubbing compound. Rubbing compound is a little bit more abrasive, okay? And rubbing compound might work too. It's just that it'd have a potential to leave a few more marks. Polishing compound is much more fine. Now, I actually already ran a little bit over this thing by hand, and it did help it a little bit. But I'm going to use the Dremel tool now. Now, probably most of you are familiar with the Dremel tool. If not, ta-da, that's a Dremel tool, okay? And, you know, you can see some of the attachments I've got. I've got, like, you know, little grinders. I've got, you could cut off locks with some of this, wire brushes. Dremel tools are not really very expensive, and you can kind of do a lot with them. I'm going to turn it on for a second. It's going to be really loud. There's the switch, and the one I have is variable speed. I think most of them are. And you can see you can go lower speed. I'm probably going to go pretty low speed on this thing, just so I don't overdo it. But you can go really, you know, that's really high speed, a lot of RPMs. Okay. So what we're going to do is, as you might guess, and by the way, on this polishing pad here, you can see the size I'm using, but there's different pads, and I'm sorry if the video is shaky. I guess I can adjust that later. Like here's another one that's a little bit bigger that you could use if you really wanted to. I'm hesitant to get my nails in there. I think I need to trim my nails, but I'm going to try this one now. I'm just going to get some on here. It's a little tough, obviously. I'm doing one-handed operation, which makes things a little bit difficult. But we're going to go ahead and just get this pad nice and juicy. I don't know with the polishing compound. I doubt I can reuse this pad, but that's okay. You know, in fact, I got more on it than I need, but no big. So I'm going to start off just kind of rub a little, and then let's just kind of go low RPM and see what happens. Well, you can see it flies all over the place. So, you know what, we need to do it a little bit differently, I think. So what I'm going to do is just smear it on my finger, okay? So that it doesn't go flying like that. This is the first time I've tried this, but I'm pretty sure it's going to work, you know, because I use polishing compound for a lot of different stuff. So the first time, as you probably saw, I put some on and it started, well, I don't know, maybe I didn't have the camera in the right spot, but it started flying all over the place. So I'm just going to kind of rub it on there, get it nice and moist. And again, it has a very, very mild abrasive in it, but not bad at all. And I'm getting a little bit in the switches and things, but I think that'll come off pretty easy. I've got my bird coming over who wants to say hi. Say hi, Spooky. Okay, that's my bird. He's going to assist me. Now, you need to go away because I'm doing a video, okay? So I know you want attention, but get out. Okay, so let's try this again. Hopefully it won't go flying like it did, maybe a little bit wet. So we're just gonna go ahead and, in fact, I'm gonna kick up the speed a little bit. We'll just kind of go over the thing, and I assume it is taking scratches off. Let's see, I wanna probably try to avoid the camera area. I can get some stuff on it, wipe it down later, but I don't really want to get that too funky. So I'm just gonna kind of go, oh, I think my camera was off, I do apologize. I was watching my bird over here. So we're just going to kind of go over it a little bit. And hopefully it'll shine up real nice. I can see that it's kind of working a little bit. It doesn't look perfect so far, but it certainly looks better. That was my birdie says, yeah, it does definitely look better. And there I am in the reflection. That's kind of scary. But anyway, I may finish it up a little bit later. I'm going to stop here and take a look at it. I can see I have some deeper lines right there. But it does definitely look like it's improved things. Let's turn it off and take a look at it. And again, I'm going to probably do the rest two-handed operation. Again, I'd also apologize for the poor quality of my video work, but I'm trying to do several things at once here. Well, it's not perfect. It is better. I think by the time I get off the video, in fact, I may even pause it and pick it up after I've done a little bit of two-handed operation. You like that? It does look better, doesn't it? Definitely. Okay. So I'm gonna pause the video and probably pick it up. I do notice it messed up the Apple logo a little bit. It's kind of one of those things where, you know, what do you want? Do you want like a perfect Apple logo, or do you want like a scratched up, thrashed up case? So I'd probably rather have the Apple logo be a little bit funky. This is 64 gigs. Ooh, this is one of the iPod 4th generations. You know, obviously there's newer ones, got a little crap on it, but I can get that off later. Okay, we're gonna pause the video. I'm gonna work on it a little bit, and then I'll come back when it's cleaned up, and we'll see how it works. So this is Brad again. I'm fast forwarding. I'm finally finished working on my iPad. I have 2 iPads. My iPod. And I mentioned I was going to try to get most of the scratches off with this Dremel tool and a little bit of maybe hand polishing. So I'm pretty much done. And I didn't try to get every scratch off. My objective was not to bring it to an absolute perfect mirror finish. My objective was to get it looking a lot nicer than it did, and I think I accomplished that. So what I did is I worked on it with the Dremel tool, again, as I mentioned earlier, with some polishing compound. I put it on every now and then just to kind of keep it moist using this pad here, and you can see it's getting a little bit dirty, you know, well, from all the crud. But in any event, it's not perfect, but you can see it's pretty good. I mean, if you really look, you'll see some scratches, you know. There are still some on there, but it's definitely, there's my television, it's definitely better than it was before. So before it looked, I would say, scratched up. Now there are scratches on it, and you can see most of the logo didn't really get damaged too much. But again, I don't know if I would, look at those flexing biceps there, isn't that amazing? I'm just teasing. But yeah, so I did, what is this? Weather would like to use your current location. Okay, weather, you can use my current location, that's fine. But in any event, let's go back to it here for a second. I was distracted. So it's not perfect, but it is certainly better than it was. If I really wanted to spend a lot of time on this thing, there's some scratches. When the light just hits it perfect, you can see some stuff. There is still some marks there. But I mean, just, you know, using it in a, I'm probably gonna put it here in a case in a little bit, or just carrying it around every day. It looks pretty good. You know, it definitely looks like an improvement over what I had. So so there you go. You can see that's an improvement. And again, if I really wanted to spend some time with this thing, you know, it would definitely make it even better. But it doesn't need to be perfect, in my opinion. It's going to get scratched again. If you look at it in the light, you know, you will see some fine scratches, but you know, that is definitely a lot better than it was. So again, just to wrap it up, just using some polishing compound and a Dremel tool, and then I did a little bit of finishing with hand. I just put some of this on a cloth and just kind of rubbed it a little bit. And again, it's not perfect, but it's definitely better than it was. So again, I do know that there's a video that's kind of similar to this on right now, and certainly that's very helpful. But I did want to spend a little bit more time on a very slightly different technique, i.e. using a different polishing compound, which might be more readily available. Also, again, showing you a little bit more detail, the type of buffing wheels that you can use. Again, you could use something like this, or you know, something more like what I used. And there, you see the hole in there. There's basically just kind of a screw. Look, I'm sorry about my fingernails, but obviously I've been working. You just kind of screw that onto this thing, and then you turn it on to not the highest speed. I think you actually could leave some marks in it. They don't come off real easily. But you can see again, even though there are some marks, you know, there's a very nice finish, and certainly it looks a lot better than it did before. So I'm going to wrap up the video. I hope you found it helpful. Again, there are a number of videos on how to clean the back of your iPod, including using a banana peel. I don't know about that. You know, it didn't sound like it worked very well, but this does work. If you're looking for perfection, you're not going to get it unless you really spend a lot of time. But if you just want to clean it up a little bit, I think it works very well. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those in the comment section here on YouTube. I do thank you for your time, and hopefully you found it useful. Bye-bye.